Hello everybody, Sunjita here. Datacron set 9 is available now. It's called Archaic Rites, and I'm here today to talk to you about what is good, bad, and ugly about this set. I'm going to have several sections starting with stats. We're going to look at those, talk about which ones are good, bad, and ugly, and look at the alignment both for dark side and light side. Look at each faction set of abilities for each faction, which there are 3 factions this time, and then finally level 9 character mechanics, which are also broken up into factions. I think this is actually a very strong set. In a very broad way, and I'll get into that a little bit, but I am very impressed with this set, I'll just tell you right now. So what is so impressive about this set? So let's look at the stats. First, what's good, we got protection and health. Protection, they actually increased the protection level that you can get as opposed to before. Right here, I'm showing the level 7/8 stat boost, so this is the highest possible number you can get. But protection used to be 15 to 25% here, but they equalized it with health. So protection is even greater in this set than it has been in previous sets, and health and protection are just useful all around. There's no specific team that wants it. It's not a niche stat. Everyone wants this. What's also good is flat offense, or like offense percentage, but it's not special offense or physical offense, just plain offense. You can get up to 10 to 20% on that level 7 and 8, and crit damage is back once again. I feel like we're always getting crit damage. So great offensive stats too. No resistance pen, armor pen, it just straight up offense and crit damage. So that's very strong. And what's bad? Well, I think Hellsteel is relatively bad for the set. Like, Hellsteel is what I don't want to see. And out of the 2 Datacrons I've been rolling so far, one I took to level 8, and like 3 of the stats were Hellsteel. So yeah, go figure. And then what is ugly about these stats? We got defense again in the same super high percentage we had before in set 6, 75 to 100% for a level 7 or 8. You can max out around between 4 and 500 somewhere percent if you got like every roll defense, which is crazy. This is the most impactful stat that you can get just in a broad sense. If you're not familiar with how defense works and you just weren't around or paying close attention during set 6 or didn't have to experience that, it's overpowered when you get a ton of it. It's armor plus resistance, just makes it so hard to kill. So this is a super strong set because this is the best set of stats we've ever had on Datacrons. Not only because of what's there, these great stats, but what's not there. There's no terrible stats. Even Hellsteel has good uses. I just don't prefer to use it myself. It's very situational because a lot of time you want to stay topped off with health, and you don't want to be dipping under 100%. If you are, then you're in a bad way. And teams do so much damage now. You could go from 100% health to 0 if you get through that protection and bonus protection or whatever you have. So I don't love Hellsteel, but everything else is so strong. And if that's, I mean, like I said, I've gotten a bunch of Hellsteel rolls, but there's almost no bad stats to get. It's almost like just level up your Datacron to level 5 or level 8 and cut off, get all the stats, and just leave it there. Don't worry about re-rolling. You're not going to have a ton of re-rolls you need to do. I would almost level up to level 9 the Datacrons you have bad stats on, which is Hellsteel. And try to re-roll those, but you don't have to do a ton of re-rolls. You're going to have great stats, probably, no matter what. And even though the stats are fantastic, we're about to see what is so strong about this set. And it's not this ability. This is actually just decent for dark side allies. Whenever they daze or stun an enemy, they recover 10% health and protection. If you got a daze heavy team like Mara Jade, a daze and stun, Mara Jade and Palpatine, you can get a lot of recovery like that for dark side, but it's not going to be the one you really want to go with. A bad one is when dark side allies evade, they got offense up for 1 turn. It's just so situational. It's not going to last very long at all. And just straight up ugly. If I have it highlighted in orange, ugly means bad. If I have it highlighted in black, ugly means too powerful. So what's ugly bad is this accuracy one. We saw this in set 4. It was to help counteract dodge. But unlike then, we don't have dodge in this set, so this is pretty much useless. I mean, I had some I got dodged by Dash a few times. He has a high base dodge chance, but it's like so situational. You don't really want to get this. What makes this set so powerful, in my opinion, is this level 3 ability and the light side variant. At the start of the encounter, dark side allies gain 15% max health and max protection for each other dark side ally. So if you're in 5v5 and you have just a standard full dark side team, that's 60% health and protection for the whole team. And of course there's some mixed squads like Jabba, Starkiller, Mandalorians, things like that. But even in a mixed squad and you're only getting maybe 30% max health and max protection, or 15%, it's still better than any of these other ones, and there's only the 4 abilities, so that is just crazy powerful. I didn't even bother giving recommendations for other stuff because there's just infinite possibilities for this. I think you should go for this and the light side version exclusively. So I'll finish talking about that ability a little bit more here, but I just want to show the light side variants. It's the same, it's just for light side, evasion up. Maybe Yoda can make good use of that, but it's getting offense up anyway. I still think you want the health and protection one. Gas could actually make decent use of the Dazer Stun. You could recover 50% health. But you still want this on him. 60% max health and max protection in 5v5. Even in 3v3, 30% max health and max protection. If I had a Datacron that had 30% max health and max protection, I'd be stoked about it. And the fact that you can get it on level 3s, both light side and dark side, is incredible. I'm not kidding. I think you should aim to exclusively only have this level 3. Have it on every single Datacron for level 9. I don't think there's a need for any of the other abilities. Go for this. Try to reroll every time. If you get to level 3 and you don't have reroll mats to try to get this ability on light side or dark side, move on to something else. It's not too expensive to take a Datacron to level 3. Literally, you want to max this out as much as you can. It's making durable teams even more durable. It's making teams that are on the fence pretty durable. This is it's going to be useful if not everyone's doing it. If you can make use of it and your opponents aren't. It'll be nice, but this is going to be kind of a slog with this set because every team's going to be so durable. One thing I want to note is it doesn't really work how you would think it would with Jedi Master Luke. So with Jedi Master Luke, you might think, oh, I get 60% protection, so his special ability is going to do more damage. It actually doesn't work like that. So Jedi Master Luke's ability takes his max protection at the start of the battle, like before abilities, like leaderships are counted in. So it takes the stats from Datacrons and mods, but it doesn't take abilities from Datacrons and abilities from kits, if that makes sense. So that's not going to be like a cheat code for Jedi Master Luke. However, this set still has protection on, so if you get a bunch of protection rolls and then you add that, you're going to have an extremely durable Jedi Master Luke team, and they're going to hit like a truck. This is in addition to the stats you get. You get like plus 100%. Between this and a stat boost, you get like plus 100% protection and plus 80% health. It's incredible. I'm not kidding. This is one of the most overpowered mechanics we've ever seen. I think it's the single most overpowered mechanic we've ever seen on level 3. It's more powerful than the 25% turn meter for light side in set 2. It's more powerful than the 100% turn meter for weakest dark side ally in set 6. Those were initial boosts, and they didn't work for every team. They were situational. It was just like a poof and it was gone. They were very strong, but I think this is stronger. This is just insane. Now to finally move on to faction mechanics. Our first faction is Sith. That's what the emblem is. I think the best one is just Retribution. This is going to work great for the full Sith teams, like Treya and Malgus. It's just, you're not used to having counterattacks on those teams, so that's going to be pretty brutal if you don't have a dominant team to take care of it anyway, or already. The no revive is back, and I think it's good, but it's like, I'm not exactly sure how you're going to want to use it yet. I put Darth Vader here because it was always nice to have the weapon tech on him to prevent revives. Maybe that could have some use, but and Vader's usually on a team where he's the only Sith, so Retribution isn't going to be as great on a team with him. This, I just put Sith Trooper because, like, I don't know, maybe if he's on a First Order team and he's the only Sith, you can just get some key ability blocks. This is kind of like a repeat from Set 6. If no one's ability blocked on the enemy team and you hit them with a Sith, you get ability blocked. Can actually be pretty useful. It was pretty clutch for me with Scoundrels Set 6. There's a turn meter. If a Sith gives a buff to another ally, you get 10% turn meter. Sith aren't giving out tons of buffs, but it is decent. Palpatine does give out offense up and health steal up, so he could also apply for this too. This one's kind of strong, but it's also cutting it close. First time each Sith ally is reduced below 50% health, inflict doubt on all enemies for 1 turn. That is powerful. It doesn't say it can't be resisted though, so I put Palp because he's pretty high potency, his whole team. Doubt is a really powerful buff, or debuff, but again it's situational because you're already getting weak at that point. Maybe you want to use it with Lord Vader actually, because he can spare 50% health. Another one, this isn't bad, but it's just relatively bad compared to the others. If a Sith ally starts their turn with at least 2 buffs that can be dispelled, they might dispel debuffs on themselves. It kind of reminds me of Jedi Training Rey's Unique, where she's dispelling on herself. But that triggers when she gets debuffed. I put this for Sith Eternal Emperor because it's kind of like a Watt mechanic. Like if he has a bunch of debuffs on him, that's a big part of why you want tank tech on him with Watt, so that can help be a substitute for him. I definitely think it is worth it for him, but otherwise I don't really think you want a lot of these. And then this one, it's not great. I think it's bad, but it's when a Sith ally is critically hit an enemy during their turn, they get 10% offense, staying for 2 turns. So I put Lord Vader and Darth Revan because they have AoEs. They could get like 50% turn meter, or 50% offense with an AoE, and then have a hard hit next time. But I still don't think it's worth it. Retribution is going to take the cake here for this faction. I love the Sith faction. I'm glad to see it again. I thought we'd see Jedi before Sith, but good faction and decent bonuses. But there's so many good ones, you don't really have to worry too much about what you're rolling. It's not like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. So that's why I think you still need to focus on that level 3. Next faction, Old Republic. It's a bad faction. The Old Republic is one of the worst factions in the game. I mean, they have Revan, they have some key choice stars. Oh, I'm blocking here. But here I put this as the best. This is a faction specific one, so this is only available to Old Republic, where some of them are repeated throughout this set. Whenever an Old Republic ally defeats an enemy, they refresh the cooldowns of all Old Republic allies. So Old Republic aren't really big damage dealers. Even the Jedi like Revan and Bastila, they're not doing too much damage on their own. But if you put them under Jedi Master Luke and have this, I'm envisioning calling to assist Revan or Bastila or Jolee, and then resetting cooldowns, and then Revan can swap his turn meter, can do his mark. Revan has tons of great special abilities, so resetting his cooldowns, so he basically, if you can try to make him never have to do a non-special, or like the turn meter swap, it's literally just like free turns. So that's where I'm picturing that. I don't know if it's going to be too great if Revan's the lead, because at that point you're probably getting most of your kills with like Yoda or something. Anyway, next one that's pretty good is the buff granting. I think a Bastila with this, whenever she takes a turn, it's limited to once per turn per ally, so it's max 10% turn meter per turn. It's not like she can pass all the buffs to Yoda and give him tons of turn meter, but whenever she takes a turn, she gives out battle annotation, so every time she takes a turn, plus 10% turn meter for everyone. So that's a pretty good one for Bastila and the team. Retribution, this is just general. I think Retribution would kind of be nice for Canderous on a Maul team, because he can just counter and get turn meter, and it might lead to some good stuff. And then otherwise, if you're running a Karth team for some reason, which I don't recommend, that's probably the way to go, is Retribution. But otherwise, Retribution, you're not too afraid of Old Republic's hits, but on a Karth team, it might chain well. Revive Prevention, don't know exactly how that is going to come into play, but it's still a good mechanic. I'm sure we'll find uses for it. The debuff Dispel, I think this will kind of work well for Sortie, because she's kind of a timeout character, especially with all the extra stats. She will have a lot of health and protection. This can help her shrug off like buff immunity or shock or something else that's going to help, that would prevent her from getting all that protection up. Bad, this one is specific to Old Republic. Whenever they're revived, they gain protection over time, 25% for 2 turns, and 25% turn meter, reduce their cooldowns by 1. I mean, this would be so situational. It would be like if your whole team died, you run back with Jolee, everyone's getting a little turn meter and reducing their cooldowns. I really don't think it's worth it. It's not going to be like a game changer. If your whole team's dead, it's not like the old days when, if you brought Jolie back, it's like, oh, it took so long to kill them. Like, I can't do it again. You can kill them again. And then Ugly, just straight up Ugly, is getting offense for crits. The Old Republic Jedi are notoriously low crit chance and low offense. They're kind of wet noodles, so this isn't really mattering either. The ones you need, even Old Republic Jedi team, you need Yoda. He's not Old Republic, so this is just a terrible ability. But overall, Old Republic, it's not really a great faction. Nightsisters, very small faction. You're pretty much running one team. If you're lucky in 3v3, maybe you get two. A lot of them are kind of decent, but there's one in particular you'll see at the end that is the one you want to go with, I think. The first one that's pretty good is when Nightsister allies are revived. They recover some protection, gain 25% tier meter, reduce their cooldowns by 1. So the same thing that was happening with Old Republic, but Nightsisters revive all the time. It's part of what they do. So this could actually be better with them because you're constantly getting revived. I don't know why this is lower coming first, but the debuff dispel could be nice too. It would help with Daka if she's ability blocked or has healing immunity or something. That could help bail her out to bail you out. Retribution also is decent. Revive prevention, I'm sure you can make use of. Ability block could be a selective advantage to you. I don't think Nightsisters really have ability block to give out, so that's bringing in a debuff that they don't normally have. So you could use that in a strategic manner on offense, probably. What's bad is the crit hits and getting 10% offense, because again, it's critically hitting enemies during their turn. So unless they're getting AoEs, you're not going to get a substantial amount of offense. If it wasn't during your turn, this would actually be pretty good because you could get like a Death Storm thing going on, and whoever's dead keeps hitting the enemy and stacking offense up and up and up because they're always attacking and they're not taking turns. That would be kind of weird. I don't know how that would work. It would be too much order of operations to contemplate. But the best one, the ugly one that you really want to get for a Nightsister team is whenever a Nightsister ally is defeated or revived, which is happening all the time, think of Zombie, they inflict 2 stacks of plague on all enemies for 3 turns. It doesn't say it can't be resisted, but that's a lot of plague. If they just, especially if you're on offense, that they just have to keep killing Zombie over and over, that's going to be a lot of plague out there. And think even like if you run Supreme Leader Kylo Ren with Daka and Zombie, like, Zombies dying all the time and they don't realize it. The enemy team's going to end up with like infinite plague almost. But otherwise it's going to stack up to infinity when Nightsisters. I think this is the one you want to go with, especially if you're running Talzin lead. But like I said, even if you're just running Daka and Zombie with Supreme Leader Kylo or something else. Now that we've looked at all these factions, I just wanted to take a break in the action to share a fun fact. There are 9 Nightsisters in the game, and we're talking characters, 10 Old Republic characters, and 20 Sith, so this set is covering 39 total characters. Set 8 covers 45, meaning 83 total, a -1 since Dooku is both a Separatist and a Sith. I don't think there are any other overlaps. So there's 83 characters that can be covered by faction mechanics for these 2 sets. Set 7 covered 50 on its own, and then Set 6 covered 75 all by itself. This is mostly because the Scoundrel faction is enormous, the biggest faction in the game. But the point is, since Set 6, we've seen fewer and fewer characters that are actually affected by the faction bonuses. I don't know if this is going to continue, but we have the 3 relatively low factions. Even the bigger usually they have 1 major faction and a couple of smaller ones. Even the major faction for this one, Sith, is smaller. So just an interesting trend I wanted to point out. And now we come to the level 9 mechanics for Sith. I'm not jumping up and down about any of them. Darth Maul is pretty good. If he's defeated, he's revived with 100% health. Gains health over time, 75% for 2 turns, and takes a bonus turn. So this is like the Darth Vader one from Set 4. Maul isn't amazing, but like he does have an AoE daze, so you can throw him in there, he's squishy, he'll die, and then he'll come back and get AoE daze, which is kind of nice. I think of that as working well with Sith Eternal Emperor, if you gotta throw him with a bunch of Sith in there, because the Sith dying actually heals up everyone too, so that would be an extra set of healing for the whole team. Sith Trooper, It's decent. This just keeps him under stealth. That's the value in it for me, because you don't want him to die. He's kind of like the backbone of a first order team if you're running it with like Hux and first order TIE pilot. So that's gonna be kind of nice. And then when he loses stealth, he gets 30% defense penetration and 50% offense for one turn, and that can stack with like offense up or something. So that's actually pretty good. It's decent. I already have an R7. Both these are needed for Leviathan, so it's not bad. And then Savage Oppress is pretty good too. I don't have him at R7, but whenever he deals damage to an enemy, remove 25% turn meter. It doesn't say it can't be resisted, so I don't know. But it's a pretty good one. It's not like, I don't think it's gonna be super impactful. It seems better than it is, I think. But it's still good. Then Sith Assassin. Sith Assassin is a terrible character. When an enemy is stunned, they take a bonus turn. I mean, how much do you really get from Sith Assassin's turn? I mean, she gives some turn meter. But you're not doing a ton of stuns with a Sith Empire team anyway, so that is bad. Another bad one is Talon. Whenever she gains stealth, she reduces the cooldowns of her special abilities by 1. Again, big whoop. Who cares if you're getting her special abilities? And then Sith Empire Trooper, it's very strange. This will be great on someone else, but it's all about offense. When he has defense up, he gets 30% defense penetration and 100% offense. And then when it expires, he gains 10% tenacity and max 100 until the end of the encounter. So again, like a big whoop. Like he is so weak. Like he doesn't do damage. He hits under protection, so I don't know. Maybe that'll kick in and do something. But I can't imagine this like actually swinging any kind of match. It's just terrible. He's a tank. Like he's a total consummate tank. He doesn't deal damage. He just takes it. So I don't understand this one. Just 2 more factions to go with level 9s, and we got Old Republic. Starting with the good. This is actually the highlight level 9 for me out of the whole set. This is my favorite one. And you're going to have Bastila Shan. If you're going for Leviathan, you need her at R7 anyway, so you'll be able to use this. What this is just her leadership ability. It's just giving her leadership ability out to the whole team. I guess if you are using her in the leader slot already, you're kind of doubling the effects. But you can combine this with Giant Knight Revan Lead. This is awesome. Like, back in like 2018, 2019, it was always like, oh, do you want to use Bastila Lead or Revan Lead? You kind of use Bastila to take on General Grievous because you want the durability, but Revan's Lead is better for utility and damage and all kinds of stuff. So you don't have to choose for the next 4 months. You just put them together. I think this is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be awesome under Jedi Knight Revan, under Jedi Master Luke. There's all kind of combos you can get. It is for only Old Republic. It's not for Jedi. So it's not exactly her leadership. Her leadership is just for Jedi. But, I mean, most of the... Like, it was not going to be working for Yoda if you have a standard Jedi Knight Revan team. But it's keeping the rest of the team durable. And... giving tons of tenacity, giving 35% more damage. It's actually going to be awesome, and it's giving out pre-taunts. So if you have Juhani, she's going to pre-taunt. I love this one. Moving on, Mission Val. This one's actually decent. I wouldn't recommend taking her to R7 for it, but if you have her already, whenever she uses a basic on her turn, and you kind of usually want to do a basic with her, so only got one special, and it's not really a huge focus. Other allies gain 25% turn meter, and that's not just all other Old Republic allies. So if you choose to use her, if you have a Tarful team, and have her as Alvar's buddy, as the non-Wookiee on the team, you can churn out turn meter to the rest of the team. This is not bad at all. Still wouldn't recommend building her up, though. Then bad and ugly. Canderous, it's bad. Like, his leadership... If you could use it on a Maul team, it might be good. But if Canderous has an Old Republic ally in the leader slot, whenever damage over time expires, they regain damage over time, and he recovers 10% health and protection. So it's a little bit of Darth Vader vibes with his lead. The damage over time is going to come back. But like a Karth lead team, this Datacron set's not enough to make Karth good. And even if Old Republic was good, you'd want Bastila Shan, not the Canderous' Datacron. Which is a shame because I already have an R7. And then Karth is ugly because at the start of his turn, dispel all debuffs on him, recover 5% health for each debuff dispelled this way. Who cares if he's taking a turn? Who cares what Karth does? He is not good. And then got my animations out of whack. Zalbur's is bad too. It might seem okay, but it gains 20% defense for each Old Republic ally. So again, you need a lot of Old Republic allies. Can't be the Wookiee team. Whenever they use a special ability, it recovers 20% health and protection and inflicts damage over time, which can't be evaded. So it makes it more survivable, but again, it has to be an Old Republic team. And Old Republic just simply is not good. And last faction, but not least, we got Nightsisters. I got a few good ones. There's going to be one that's best for sure. Nightsister Zombie is actually pretty awesome. Whenever he loses taunt, remove 50% terminated from all enemies. Whether you're using him and Dako on some weird team, if he loses taunt, that's really strong. 50% terminated, that's great. Or if he's just on a normal Nightsister team, that could come into play. Asajj is also good. She gains just 50 speed flat, and whenever she defeats an enemy, she's like cleansing the whole team and getting 20% offense, max 100. So she already has some ramping mechanics for damage, so it's pretty decent. I still probably wouldn't focus on this one either, and refreshes the cooldowns too. So it's good, but it's gonna get muscled out. Talzin, just terrible. When she inflicts a debuff, recovers 25% max health and max protection, but it's only once per turn. Not a huge deal. It's not really worth giving that slot away for the Nightsister team. Old Daka is horrible. Whenever she stuns an enemy, which happens fairly decently often, she gets 10% crit damage and 5 speed. What do you want your old Daka to be doing? Critting people for big damage? No, she's a healer. She keeps people alive. The speed is okay, max 50, but like most of the time she's just getting the turn meter from people dying. Like, this is terrible. Don't bother. Yeah. Unless you're using like a Sprinkler Kylo Ren, even then, like, not Zombie and better. But this maybe their way of trying to get people to take Zombie to Relic 7. But the best one, the ugly one, because it's super strong, is Marin. Not a lot of people are gonna have Marin. Ready for this? Whenever an ally is defeated or revived, which is all the time in a Nightsister team, she gains 20% offense up to 200%, and then inflicts 2 stacks of plague on all enemies for 3 turns. That with the combo of the plague one from the level 6, the other team is going to melt from plague. So this is going to be insane. I feel like I can envision this being... If people choose to use it on defense, it could be great for offense, but if people choose to sit it on defense, I can see it being a thing of everyone trying to keep their General Skywalker on offense just so they don't have to worry about the plague because they can't lose their health. But that is crazy good. Probably it's the best level 9. My favorite is Bastila because I don't have her yet, but the Marin one is incredible. So that finishes my review of what's in the actual set, but before you go, I just want to talk about reroll priorities. This is something I haven't done before, but it's worth talking about because it's not always obvious. So I'm going to talk about where you want to use your reroll mats. If you don't know, if you use a reroll on anything, it increases the cost of rerolls for any other level. So if you get 2 rerolls that cost 20 reroll mats, 2 that cost 40, and after that it's 80 a pop. So if you reroll your level 3, it's going to increase the cost of a level 9. So in older sets, usually you want to wait until you get to level 9 and then start rerolling because you're trying to get must-have abilities for the level 6 and level 9. But for this set, I'm going to say maybe you want to reroll stats once you get up to level 9. Definitely want to reroll the level 3. I would say reroll. I talked about this already. Reroll. Try to get that 15% health and protection one on every single Datacron you have. If you're not able to get it after 1 or 2 rerolls, move on. Try to do a different Datacron. I have 2 Datacrons so far. I have one of the light side health and protection, one of the dark side. Each one I used a single reroll and got it, so it doesn't seem super rare. And it's 2 out of 8. So it's not terrible odds if you do couple rerolls of 20s. So definitely reroll that. Don't reroll the faction ones. None of them are, there's like, aside from like that one Nightsister one, none of them are so powerful that they're must-haves. The must-have is a level 3. So you really need to prioritize getting that. If you like roll the right level 3 right away and then take that up to level 6 or something, that might be a time to reroll that, but do not prioritize that reroll. And then level 9, I would reroll for Bastila. That's the one. That's really the only one I'm gonna gun for. Nightsisters, I don't think I'm gonna get Mara into Relic 7 by the end of this set. And even if I did, my Nightsisters are not all R5. I might, but definitely just try to get Bastila. Otherwise, the level 9s, I could take a pass on most of them. Honestly, they are not anything super special. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like if you did enjoy, and sub if you haven't already. Love to hear from you, your thoughts on this set, because I'm pretty excited about it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you later.